So a normal dog's temperature ranges from 100.5 and 102.5 degrees Fahrenheit. Anything above 102.5 usually indicates that the dog is undergoing any kind of heat stress or heat exhaustion. Besides that, anything above 106 degrees Fahrenheit is considered to be a heat stroke. However, some signs and symptoms of heat stress and heat exhaustion are, heavy but controlled panting, usually without any signs of difficulty breathing. Also, another sign and symptom is rectal temperature being elevated, anywhere between 102.5 and 106 degrees Fahrenheit. Also, the normal heart rate, mild tachycardia with a strong pulse, or tachycardia with a fair pulse. And by the way, tachycardia just basically means that there's a high elevated pulse, on the dog. You can feel the pulse if you put your hand in the inside of the inner thigh. You can feel the pulse right there. Usually elevated pulse is anywhere between 120 and 160 pulse beats per minute. And also another sign and symptom is going to be exercise intolerance. If the dog is not wanting to walk or run, obviously that's another sign and symptom. However, other symptoms for heat stroke, which is, a little bit more severe, anything above 106 degrees Fahrenheit. Some of them range from like difficulty breathing, excessive panting. The dog cannot control his breathing very well. Tachycardia, obviously. Bright red mucous membranes. The mucous membranes, you can just lift the lip and see the gums if they're just bright red and not pink. That's another sign and symptom. Also, if you see a decreased capillary refill time, which is basically when you pinch in the inside of the gum and you see the blood not returning to normal within less than 2 seconds, that's usually another indicator. Other range from vomiting, diarrhea, weakness, dehydration, lack of coordination, unconsciousness. The main thing with heat stroke is that it has to be treated as an emergency. A dog can actually die if not treated within a matter of minutes. Okay. So some of the things you can do immediately, to treat the dog, whether it's going heat exhaustion or heat stress or even heat stroke. Basically, you got to move the dog to a shaded area if you're outdoors, or even if you can, indoors, just move it to an air-conditioned area. And the other thing you can do is just put a fan and, basically direct it to the dog so that way cool air is blowing through the dog. You can also use cool, not cold, or just cool water and wet the entire dog, paying particular attention to like areas where, a large amount of blood flow, such as, the groin area and the axillary area. You can wet those down real good. Obviously loosen and remove any collars, harnesses, muzzles to allow effective panting of the dog. Dogs usually cool down by panting, so you want to make sure that the mouth area is clear and the dog can breathe okay. Also, you can, in other cases, you can apply small amounts of regular, alcohol, rubbing alcohol to the foot pads or in the inner side of the thighs to help with the cooling effect. And in case of extreme overheating, where the rectal temperature is above 107, you can actually, this is more like a technician kind of task, but you can actually do a cool water enema, and that's basically when you grab it like a 30 ml syringe, fill it up with cool water and insert it in the rectum so that way it cools the inside a little bit faster. Once the panting is controlled, you can offer small amounts of cool water for drinking, minimize the stress and restraint to take, obviously you want to further assess taking it to a veterinarian. The dog might need some electrolyte IV infusion after that, it depends on the veterinary assessment, but definitely you want to get it addressed if a heat stroke is the case. As far as dressing your dog, with some boots, if you're going to walk them in hot surfaces, that's fine. They do sell some booties at the stores, pet stores, where you can put them on the dog and walk them outside. However, I would encourage you to, not walk them at all if there's hot surfaces, I would stick more to like early in the morning or, in the evening. Main, rule of thumb is if you walk barefooted outside and the ground burns your feet, more than likely it's going to burn the dog's paws as well. You got to be conscious that even though dogs have more tolerance for pain, it'll still injure their the paws, for the pets. So the best way of overcoming this is by walking your dog when the surface is not hot at all, So as far as like shaving the fur for your dog, It's okay. However, the fur acts as a skin protectant against the sun, UV light. And it also acts as a blanket, in cold weather. But if it's hot outside, you can, if your dog has long hair, I've seen some dogs where they don't shave, they actually trim down the coat. You don't have to shave it off, and it helps with the dog, maintaining the cool temperature within his body. But you want to make sure that you also leave a small layer of coat, since the coat acts as a protectant for the UV rays that the sun radiates. Excessive fur, will prevent the dog usually from cooling down rapidly in hot weather environments. So if your dog gets a sunburn, you obviously got to take your dog to the nearest veterinary clinic or hospital for further care. It depends on the type of sunburn your dog gets or cat gets. So professional treatment from a veterinarian is the best course of action to treat sunburns, depending on the severity of the wound. So it is never a good idea to leave your dog unattended inside a car, even if the AC is on, especially if you go into a store and you don't have direct contact with the car at all times. Sometimes even if the AC is on, you never know if something might malfunction with the car, and the AC might just not be blowing cool air after a while. So don't ever leave your car with a dog inside unattended at all. So as far as lighting up fireworks for your dog, most dogs are afraid of loud noises produced by fireworks. So lighting up fireworks alongside of your pet might actually, injure them in a way. So best way is just not to light up any fireworks at all around your pets. So as far as like taking your dog to the lake, it's always a good idea to use a life jacket. Even though most dogs know how to swim naturally, if a dog gets too tired swimming, exhaustion might occur from swimming. And it is always a good idea to keep them on the safe side and just put a life jacket just in case they cannot stay buoyant in deep waters. Well, yes or no, it's a good bonding experience for you and your dog to, to give them some human food from time to time. Usually chicken or beef, have no bad side effects on your pup. However, dogs not used to eating human food, might develop, acute diarrhea. And in other cases, if the diarrhea is not treated, properly, and if, lasting days, it might lead the dog to dehydration, and other issues that might need professional veterinary care. So the best way is, yeah, you can go ahead and, share your food, maybe small amounts of chicken or beef, if you're having some barbecue dinner, but never, give them a full meal maybe. It depends on each dog. Like I said, some dogs have sensitive stomachs. The main thing you want to prevent the dog from getting sick. So if your dog has a history of, not handling human food very well, you might just sort of stay away from, feeding him some barbecue dinner or something like that. On the other hand, there are some human foods that are toxic for dogs, such as, onions, chocolates and such. So it's the best way to do some research before you feed him any human food to prevent the dog from getting sick. So the best advice I would give to owners, if you see something wrong with your dog or cat, don't try to self-diagnose or, research it on the internet. The best thing I can tell you, if your dog is feeling sick or if you're just not sure of, something might be going on with your dog or cat, always bring him to the veterinary clinic. It doesn't have to be here, just as long as you seek any professional veterinary help. That's the best course of action in addressing any issues with your dog or cat. Is that good?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Just so